Mm-hmm. 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 Okay, hey everybody, how you doing? Tekking and Barry back again, and it's the first day of September, so you know what that means. Actually, no, you don't. Not a single one of you know. You're a liar if you said you did, because I just came up with it like a couple of days ago. This past weekend, I was on vacation. I was holed up in a secure mountain fortress, and one of the things I did while I was there was I sat down and I made up the list! It's so beautiful. That's right, the list. Now you might be asking, what is the list? What's written in the list? Kind of presumptuous just to come up to somebody and say, hey, what's that list about? I mean, easy off there, guys. I mean, I'll tell you, but okay. The list is a list, a compilation, as it were, of 12 one-piece video ideas. The mysteries of the list will not be known to all except for me and Barry and you when the time comes. I can't show you it. It's just too sacred. I can't. Okay, fine. I'll show you this. I'll show you this list, because this list is not even the real list. The real list is so important, I couldn't just have it all out willy-nilly, right? So this is just a fake list, right? Now, the real list is right here. Actually, no, it's not. This list is not even the real list. This list is just a list of pizza toppings. They're not even pizza toppings that I really enjoy. I hate olives. Pineapples are good. I've never had sardines on pizza. Are they good? Anybody out there, any sardine lovers on pizza? Have you ever had it? You know, it's like one of those things where I've always wanted to order a pizza with sardines on it, but that's a lot of commitment, okay, to order a pizza with sardines. And it could always be like a crappy pizza. Maybe I just got a crappy pizza from a crappy pizza place. I need to go to like a gourmet pizza restaurant and get sardines on that pizza to really get the full experience if I'm going to like it or not. But once again, that's a lot of stuff. I digress. Now, if you look behind the pizza topping list, you will see also not the real list. This is just a happy little drawing of me on a boat, and I'm the captain right there, and there's some clouds, and there's my Jolly Roger, and a happy little sunshine, right? No, the real list is right up here. Actually, no, it's a little bit further back here. Actually, it's a little bit right. Ha ha ha! This is the real list, and I can't show you this, unfortunately. However, I will tack it to the back of Barry, right there with some silly putty, so I may refer to it at any given time. All right. So, the first topic for the first video on the list is, in fact, the Payback War. I mean, it's not something that's really been fleshed out too much. I hope we'll definitely get a flashback to this later. I feel like we kind of have to, especially with Marco and the other division commanders of Whitebeard's crew being relevant here in Wano. Well, at least two of them are. At least we have Marco and we have Izo, which actually, interestingly enough, Marco was the former 1st Division commander, and then Izo was the 16th, and there's only 16th Division, so the very, the 1st Division and the very last division are coming together here to help out at Wano. What's up with the other division commanders like Vista or Jozu or Blamenco or Fasa? I know a lot of people out there are wondering what's up with Fasa. We don't really know, and the fact is they could actually be dead because the Payback War was a thing, also called the Grudge War. So this was a war that occurred 1 year after Marineford, after the Paramount War, the War of the Best. We all know what happens at that point. Ace dies, unfortunately. Whitebeard also passes away. Blackbeard shows up. He used his position as one of the warlords just to get into Marineford and to get all these level 6 prisoners out of Impel down, and he has this like stronger crew there. He's got Shiryu, he's got Vasco Shot, he's got Katarina Devon, San Juan Wolf, giant amongst giants. And he also has some interesting ability to steal a devil fruit from another human being. So he can actually have 2 devil fruits at once. So he has the Yami Yami no Mi, and then he steals Whitebeard's Gura Gura no Mi, and everyone's freaking out. Like, look on the terror of Marco's face right here. It's absolutely blood-curdling, okay? He knows right away what exactly Blackbeard is capable of, okay? So everybody has to basically bail out of Marineford. Shanks shows up at that point. He kind of puts a stop to it, right? But of course, as you can imagine, considering Blackbeard used to be a member of Whitebeard's crew, used to be on the 2nd Division, which was Ace's division. Ace died, as well as Whitebeard here. The Whitebeard crew's not just going to take this standing down. They had to retreat that day because of all the losses that they suffered, and Shanks got involved, and he's like, I'm putting an end to it right here. Whitebeard's crew lose, Marines win, whatever, I don't care, but I'm putting a stop to this right now. Alright, so this was not the point right now for them to really, go up against Blackbeard. So Marco's an intelligent guy, so he becomes the de facto captain. He becomes the interim captain for the Whitebeard crew. They all retreat. They get away. Pretty sure all the commanders made it out of Marineford. Well, I guess I can't say in one piece because Jozu lost an arm, but they all made it out alive, aside from Ace, okay? So, you know, Marco, Vista, well, Thatch was already dead. Jozu made it out. All of those guys made it out okay. And so they went and retreated back to one of their home islands. Meanwhile, while all this is going on, of course, Luffy is brought back to Amazon Lily. He's operated on by law, and he's fixed up, and then he begins his training on Roose Sky. Hats begin their trainings in their respective islands all over the world so they can reunite at Sabaody. But, you know, that's what's going on with the Straw Hats. What's going on with Marco and the others is after they bury Whitebeard and Ace, and, you know, Shanks is there, helps out with the burial and present during the funeral. After all that's over, it's go time. It's time to sit down and, you know, lick our wounds, heal up, and then as soon as everybody's in top tip fighting shape, we need to figure out where Blackbeard's at. We're gonna go to where he's at, and then we're gonna beat the ever-loving shit out of him. Alright, that's the plan of every single member of the Whitebeard crew, as well as many of the allies that I'm sure they had that were able to, you know, fight with them at Marineford, and they were still in fighting shape. Like, look, think about what happened with Squard. You know, Squardo, he probably felt particularly bad because he was swayed by Akainu to attack Whitebeard, and then by the end of the war, Whitebeard's dead. So, you know, like, Squardo and a lot of the other allies, they were like, you know, we're gonna help out the Whitebeard crew, we're gonna bring Blackbeard to justice for what he did, and by justice, basically, we're going to kill him. You're like, there's no, like, we're gonna drag him back or anything like that, we're gonna collect his back. No, we're gonna kill him for what he did, okay? This, he has to be taught a lesson at this point, right? He's a lot stronger now. Yes, he has the Yami Yami. Yes, he has the Gura Gura. He's got a lot stronger crew now, all these level 6 prisoners, and he gains more power every single day, essentially, while he's in the new world, but we have to put a stop to this. Now, this is why I'm really hoping we do get a full flashback to the Payback War, what Blackbeard really did and how the fight actually went down. So it's only been mentioned a few times in the story. The first time it was brought up was by Jinbei at Fishman Island after the whole events of, you know, taking out the new Fishman pirates and Horty Jones and everything. They were at the big party, and Jinbei was like, there's two big changes in the world that you need to know about, okay? The first big change is that Akainu and Aokiji fought one another at Punk Hazard to determine who's going to be the new fleet admiral after Sengoku stepped down. Aokiji lost. He left the Marines. Akainu won, but he spared Aokiji's life, and he is now the new fleet admiral. The second big change you need to know is that Blackbeard is now a Yonko. He didn't become a Yonko right after the events of Marineford. What happened was, after 1 year, they had the big Payback War. Blackbeard completely crushed the Whitebeard crew, the remnants of that crew, and they all dispersed at that point. You know, Marco and all the other division commanders went their separate ways, and then that was the point where Blackbeard truly became one of the emperors of the sea. So those are the two big things you need to know about. We didn't get a lot more information there. Later on during Zou, it gets brought up again whenever Nekomamushi and Inuarashi are talking about Marco. Like, we need to go find Marco. He's going to help us out. And Luffy's like, who the hell's Marco? He's like, oh, you met him at the war. I'm like, who is that guy again? He's like, yeah, I love Robin. Robin just pops up and he's like, oh, his head looks like a pineapple. I'm like, oh, yeah, that dude. That guy was strong. He had a cool blue fire wings. I like that guy. He was a phoenix. Yeah, he was a phoenix. Yeah, that guy. So they also bring up the Payback War there. Robin goes into a little bit more detail about it. She says that it was a very large-scale battle. So this was not just a skirmish. This was not like the Whitebeard crew rolled up and Blackbeard just BAM! And just finished them off in one blow, and then that was it. This was a large-scale battle, probably took, I want to say multiple days, maybe even. Maybe not days, because even Marineford was done in a single day, but maybe it was a long battle. And Robin even goes on to say, like, both sides had huge reinforcements, so you could probably imagine the Whitebeard division commanders, they had allies in the New World Pirates, you know, like, they showed up like Squardos, you know, Whirling Spider Squadron, they showed up. Maybe the Walrus dude, the Walrus Ming showed up to help him out, you know, Iowan and all the other, there was like, I made a whole video about them, like every single division, I mean every single ally of Whitebeard's crew, there were a lot, okay, so that was probably the reinforcements on Whitebeard's side, and then Blackbeard also got some reinforcements. What were some of the reinforcements Blackbeard could have gotten? Well, we'll get to that in a second, but I actually have some theories, okay? So, the way Robin spoke about it though, it was a really large scale battle, both sides had reinforcements, it was a tough fight, and Blackbeard ended up winning though. He ended up winning, and he ended up crushing the Whitebeard crew, the remnants of it, and at that point, you know, Marco and all the division commanders went their separate ways, so we don't really know where Marco's at right now. later on further down the line, and this is something we got a little bit more just anime side of things, but still it was pretty cool to see it. More recently, when Nekomamushi went to go visit Marco on Sphinx Island, which is Whitebeard's home island where Whitebeard grew up, in the anime, well, in the manga, it's just like, oh yeah, after the events of Marineford, we try to get back at Blackbeard, we try to do the Payback War, the Grudge War, but we just couldn't win because he had Whitebeard's Guru, plus he had his Yami Yami no Mi, we just couldn't win. I think that's all he says in the manga. In the anime, we get a short little animation. We get a scene where we see Marco and the rest of the division commanders facing off against Blackbeard's crew on top of like a tall mountain. And a lot of this is just symbolism. Like at the very end of this fight, like from the way that it looks and the way the anime it depicts it here, Blackbeard wipes out all the division commanders single-handedly. Like he just like BAM! Smashes the ground with the Gura, and then he like it honestly looks like an evil like spirit bomb, like Genki Dama from like Dragon Ball or something. And, you know, Blackbeard just uses the power to, like, suck in all of the members of the division commanders, and they all just like, no, we lost! And Blackbeard's like, Zeha! Zeha! I win! You know? So it maybe, honestly, it might have been a prelude to him possibly combining the Yami Yami no Mi with the Guru no Mi. I mean, that's a possibility. I mean, this has really never happened before where one person has two devil fruits. So is it possible to combine them? Like, he takes the quake bubble from the Guru, like, and then he adds the darkness, like the black vortex to that. So he creates a giant quake bubble that sucks people in. And when people get sucked into the quake bubble, then they get rattled and shocked by the shockwave. That could be a prelude to that, so that's possible. But the whole thing where, like, in the anime, it depicts it like Blackbeard creating an attack and all the other members just get sucked in and like, no! Like, that was all just, like, it's supposed to, like, visually depict that Blackbeard won and Whitebeard's crew lost. Alright, I don't think Blackbeard did it all single-handedly, and that, of course, contradicts what Robin said, like, it was, like, a large-scale battle, and there was reinforcements from both sides. Wouldn't make much sense if Blackbeard just stepped out and, like, alright, I'll take care of this. Quake bubble, darkness, alright, let's go get Denny's. You know, like, it's more than that, right? But it was cool. It at least looked cool in the anime to show that, okay. So, the thing that you really have to understand about the Grudge War, the Payback War, whatever you want to call it, is Marco and the rest of the Whitebeard crew, you have to figure they were really pissed at Blackbeard. They wanted revenge for Whitebeard, but they were not stupid. All right, they are not idiots. They are not going to jump into this hot-headed, like 1 week after Marineford. All right, screw it, let's do this. Yeah, let's wreck him up. You know, they're not going to do that, all right? They're going to be, Marco especially, he's been on the crew as long as, you know, well, he's been on the crew longer than Blackbeard was, than Teach was. Just same thing with Jozu, same thing with Vista, so they know Teach. And they probably thought that that gave them an edge. They'd be like, okay, we know this guy. We know how he thinks. He's always been a weird guy, but he's been on the crew for, you know, like less than we have, so we know, all right? Maybe some of the other newer members don't, but we do, okay? Some of the newer members probably just know about Teach as like, oh, that was that guy from the 2nd Division that killed Thatch. But like Vista, Jozu, Marco, they know. So you know for a fact that after Whitebeard and Ace were buried, after the funeral was over, after all their wounds were healed, you know, as much as they could be. I mean, Jozu lost an arm, and I'm sure there were other division commanders that suffered serious injuries that would never really truly heal. But after they healed as much as they could, you know, they sat down and they started planning this out right. They were like, all right, I want to figure out where Blackbeard's at in the new world. What islands is he kind of like making his home base? I want statistics. I want like a roster. Who's on his crew? At Marineford, we saw like Avalo Pizarro, Katarina Devon. You know, Marco being a member of Whitebeard's crew, of a Yonko crew, he would probably know those names. I mean, those names are kind of infamous all throughout the world. But as a Yonko, they might have even dealt with them before, right? Because Whitebeard's been around for a very long time. You know, before Katarina Devon or Vasco Shaw got put in Impel down, you know, Whitebeard might have clashed with them in the New World like 10 years ago or something. You know, it might have been something like that. So Marco might have information on them, but he's like, I also want information on, you know, Burgess and Van Auger and this Doc Q individual. What's up with that horse? You know, they're going to do this logically. They're going to figure out where in the New World he likes to hang out, and if possible, they're going to get a surprise out on him. They're going to try to ambush him. They're going to, you know, jump him at sea. Something that they could do where they would definitely have the advantage. They might even try to lure Blackbeard to an island that they know the terrain of very, very well. It might be a situation like this. It might be like, okay, Blackbeard's crew, he has a fleet and he's in the head ship and they're heading in this direction in the New World. Well, we actually know that there's an island right there that we used to hang out at, and it's a deserted island, and we know the terrain very well. Let's try to wreck their ships on that island. Let's do it, and then let's like ambush them there, and let's attack, and we'll have kind of the advantage with that, right? So, but also keep in mind that also kind of works on the opposite end, because Blackbeard also was on Whitebeard's crew, so a lot of the information that maybe is like, Blackbeard might be like, say, haha, they might have the information, but I have the information too, so I can plan around their information, right? Blackbeard is also, I want to say Blackbeard's not an idiot. I mean, he's not, he isn't, but there are moments in the story that he does things that are kind of idiotic. Like, the thing I always point to is like, I'm just gonna walk directly into Magellan. Yeah, that'll work well. Hey, Magellan, how are you doing? Hydra. Oh, damn it, I didn't see this coming. You know, like, so he does things that are kind of idiotic, but that might come back down to Blackbeard, maybe that split personality thing, multiple soul theory. Sometimes he has these plans that are super Machiavellian and like layered and planned out for decades and decades. Other times it's just like, I completely blanked on this. Sorry guys, brain fart, walked into a damn Hydra. What are you gonna do? Good thing you were here, Shiryu, or we would be dead, right? So, you know, Blackbeard probably is expecting that they're going to come after him. You know, they're going to expect that, oh, they're definitely planning something. All right, so a whole year goes by planning into this. A year planning this battle. And we don't know exactly where the battle took place, and we don't know, you know, if it was a surprise or, you know, exactly how the battle was set up or anything like that. But we at least do know that Marco put a lot of thought into this. And just many sleepless nights, probably, also driven by the memory of Pops, you know, Whitebeard, who was all their father figure, essentially. And he's like, I'm gonna do this, Pops. I'm gonna freaking do this. I'm gonna plan this out. I'm gonna do this right. We're gonna crush Blackbeard, and we're gonna freaking win, all right? So I think the day of the battle, I think the beginning of this was actually in Whitebeard's crew, in the Whitebeard crew's favor. Definitely. I think with all the planning that they did, when they finally rolled up to catch Blackbeard, I think they did catch him by surprise. And I think they also had their reinforcements with them. Like, you know, the division commanders, like, how about we do this? How about, here's something. Marco's like, how about we go after Blackbeard first? We're going to take him by surprise, but it's just going to be the division commanders in a single ship. And we're going to make Blackbeard think that we're just out for just, you know, like blood red revenge. Like, we're super hot-headed. We're just like, there's Blackbeard! Let's capture him! Go! We're going to make Blackbeard think that we're not really thinking straight, when in reality, we have all these other ally crews that are going to, like, do a pincer maneuver. So, you know, here's Blackbeard's ship, and it's like, oh, out behind the side of an island, boom! Here comes the Moby Dick 2! Ready to wreck your day, right? And then they start attacking, and Blackbeard's like, oh, there's Marco and all the division commanders. Oh, they took us by surprise. Oh, but look at them. They only have one ship. We have a whole damn fleet. Didn't expect I got so powerful in such a short amount of time. Did you, Marco, you damn bird? Say ha ha. And he's like, give him false sense of security. And then they start attacking, kind of like, they're more of like a diversion, if nothing else. And then the other ally captains come in from the side. Oh, crap, there's Iowan. Oh, crap, there's Squardo. Oh, crap, there's Whitey Bay. There's the AO Pirates. They're all coming in. They're all coming from all sides. And then the battle is straight up on, all right? At this point, you know, from what we see from Blackbeard's crew at the Hachinosu, at the Beehive Island that we just saw, like, in the interlude between Act 1 and 2 of Wano, he really didn't bring on a lot of other really big heavy hitters other than Aokiji, which is apparently, you know, he's allying with the Blackbeard crew. I'll get back to Aokiji in a second. And there might be some other really high-ranking members, but what I'm saying is the crew that we saw at the Hachinosu was the same basic crew that we saw at Marineford, the level 6 prisoners, okay? There might be some other really strong members, and obviously there's more members overall, but they're like more just like fodder, you know what I mean? Like just random crewmates and stuff like that. So I don't think he would have gathered together anybody, you know, too much stronger than like like Shiryu, Vasco Shot, San Juan Wolf. Those are still their main fighting force. Van Auger, Burgess, all those guys, Lafitte, obviously, from the old crew. Okay. And so the fight is officially on, and I'm sure Marco even planned it out for everybody. He's like, okay, Lafitte, he can fly, so I'll take care of him. Jozu, you're super tough, so you should go up against maybe Vasco Shot. We don't know much about Vasco Shot, but maybe Vasco Shot, he's like this super buff dude. Fight against him. Vista, you're on Shiryu detail. Vista's like, hi, Captain. He twirls his mustache, okay? So they planned this out. They're like, okay, you're gonna fight him, you're gonna fight her, you're gonna figure out all this stuff. Who's gonna take on San Juan Wolf? All right, everyone's gonna figure out what's going on here. Blamenko, take out a giant hammer and hit San Juan Wolf with it. Who would of the Whitebeard division commanders could take on San Juan Wolf? They would probably have to have more than one. Like Curiel, here's what you do. Curiel runs like the marksmanship or like the artillery division, the big, like all the guns he has strapped to his back, shoot at freaking San Juan Wolf's like knees, get him to fall to the ground and then something, or get Sea Prism on him to negate the Devil Fruit power, maybe something like that. Like Marco planned this. This is what Marco does, right? He's a smart dude. And he has all these other really intelligent division commanders. I mean, I'm sure not all the division commanders are super, tactical or anything like that, but they've been on Whitebeard's crew for so damn long, it's like, we're gonna plan this out. We're gonna work together as a team, and we're gonna freaking do this, okay? Blackbeard still won. That's the thing of why this is such a big deal, all right? Because, yeah, this is more like when the Straw Hats finally roll up to fight against Blackbeard's crew, which is going to happen probably during the climax of One Piece. When the Straw Hats finally fight the Blackbeard crew, it's not going to be like, it's not just going to be like, oh, the Straw Hats are there, and then the Blackbeard, there's just like forces of nature clashing with each other like ravaged beasts. From the Payback War, we could figure out that, they're going to probably have some tactics or some, things underhanded that, maybe like make them out to be a lot more intelligent than they originally seem, But anyway, yeah, so they planned all this stuff out, and then who were the reinforcements from Blackbeard's side of things? Well, what about Aokiji? Yeah, Aokiji. That would be, because I believe the fight between Akainu and Aokiji, that happened pretty much right after Marineford. That happened a couple of weeks, maybe a month or so after Marineford, because they needed to decide a new fleet admiral quick. Because Sengoku stepped down right at the end, right before the time skip started, he stepped down. So a few weeks later, they were already clashing at Punk Hazard, okay? So a year, by the time the Grudge War happens, the Payback War happens, Akainu is already the fleet admiral. Aokiji already defected, okay? And he already wandered off and did his own thing, okay? Possibly he might have been a member of Sword, okay? So if Aokiji did become like a secret clandestine member of Sword, the main purpose of Sword is to kind of get in the good graces with a Yonko, figure out what they're like on the inside, and then take them down. Just kind of like how X-Drake is, he got in the good graces of Kaido's Beast Pirates, and he's trying to take him down from within. That's kind of the whole point of Sword, from what we understand so far. So, what do you think would be the best way Aokiji might be able to get Blackbeard's crew to trust him? Because keep in mind, Aokiji is, he's a former Marine, but he still used to be a high Marine admiral. All right, an admiral, for God's sake. Blackbeard, accepting his help as an ally, that's going to take a huge, he has to do something big to really earn Blackbeard's trust, okay? This could have been it. It could have been a situation where Whitebeard, he was fighting the Whitebeard crew were fighting as hard as they could, and they really planned this out. But then, boom, at the last minute, the entire freaking ocean freezes. It freezes all of the Whitebeard ships. The Moby Dick 2 gets frozen solid. All the division commander ships get frozen. And like, whoa, what the hell? And then Aokiji shows up. And Aokiji, of course, he didn't want to do this, of course. He's not that kind of guy. He wouldn't want to do that. But maybe he could have made it so he's like, all right, here's what's going to happen. I'm a member of Sword. I got to get into the good graces of Blackbeard, and Blackbeard is really dangerous. He's got the Yami Yami. He's got the Gura Gura. I might have to kind of do some stuff I don't want to have to do in order to get into his good graces. In order to get into his crew to the point where I can destroy him, I'm going to probably have to do some messed up shit. And this might have to be the stuff I'm going to have to do. Like, I'm sure Aokiji, respected Marco more than he respects Blackbeard, right? Like, so he's probably like, I don't want to have to do this, but I'm going to have to in order to get into the position that I have to be in with Sword. All right, so Aokiji shows up, and he's the one that turns the tides. Yes, it might only just be one person, and Robin said both sides had huge reinforcements, but I would consider Aokiji the guy that can literally freeze the entire ocean. Well, not the entire ocean, but a huge chunk, like miles and miles of ocean, just with like a snap of his fingers. Like, just like put one finger in the water, like, whoop, Ice Age. 10 miles in every direction, just frozen solid. Yeah. I'd say that counts as big reinforcements, major reinforcements there, right? So Aokiji shows up, freezes all of the Whitebeard crew's ship, and then makes it so Blackbeard could win the Payback War. But at the same time, Aokiji might have spun it so maybe like casualties on the Whitebeard crew were at a minimum. I'm thinking, guys, with all the division commanders we had on Whitebeard's crew, Ace already died, Thatch already died. That still leaves us with 14 division commanders that were left after Marineford was done and then went into the Payback War. We can assume 14 of them, unless they replaced like divisions 2 or 4, which I don't think they probably would have. You know, I'm thinking some of them probably died. Some of them probably died. You know, I'm usually not a fan of the off-screen death kind of deal, cliche, but there were a lot of division commanders, and let's just be straight up here, not all of them needed really in-depth backstories. So let's go through all of them right here. Obviously Marco's alive, because unless Marco is a zombie! No, he's not a zombie, he's still alive. So Marco's alive, Ace is dead, I think Jozu is also still alive, he's just still missing an arm. Thatch is already dead, Vista's still alive. I mean, Vista, there's so many cool things about Vista. Vista still needs to be alive. Blamenko might be dead. Blamenko had that weird devil fruit where he can pull stuff out of his pocket. Also, keep in mind, if some of the division commanders died during the Payback War, Whitebeard could have gotten their devil fruits. So nobody really cares, I think, about Blamenko as a person, you know, as a character. Be like, oh, but guys. But no, his devil fruit is definitely interesting. So Blamenko, commander of the 6th Division, could have died during the Payback War, and then Blackbeard could have given his, like, his pocket dimension fruit, you know, be able to pull things out of pocket dimensions, like hammer space, anywhere into the Blackbeard crew. Could have given that to somebody else. Could have given that to Avala Pizarro or somebody, right? Yeah, kind of dangerous. Rakuyo is the 7th Division commander. I really want Rakuyo to be alive because Rakuyo has that cool chain chomp dude. He's like the heavy metal rocker kind of guy with the cigar or whatever. I want Rakuyo to be alive. Namer was the fishman on Whitebeard's crew. I want Namer to be alive. I think there's definitely a story with Namer that needs to be told of exactly how he joined. He's the only fishman on the crew. I want to know the story of Namer. Blenheim was the 9th Division. Blenheim was like kind of like the motorcycle guy with the denim, and he kind of rescued Jozu at the end of the war. Blenheim, though, I don't think not a lot of really people care about Blenheim, so Blenheim might be dead. Curiel, I want to still be alive, because Curiel was like the really badass like Vietnam War vet with all the guns. He went up against Moria like, hey, you giant onion human, like freaking Rambo. I want Curiel to be alive. King Do! King Do just reminds me of He-Man, and I'm pretty sure, Oda, that was the basis for Curiel's character. I mean, not Curiel's character. King Do's character was He-Man, so I kind of want King Do to still be alive. 12th Division was Haruta. I don't think a lot of people care about Haruta. I kind of liked Haruta. Haruto kind of had like a cool like Victorian, not Victorian, like Queen Elizabeth era, like, you know, Shakespeare kind of England. So I liked Haruta's design, but if Haruta died, I'm not gonna like weep too much there. 13th Division Commander, that was oh wait, who was the 13th? Was that Atmos? Might have been Atmos. I think that was Atmos. Water Buffalo Atmos. That was the dude that Doflamingo controlled during Marineford. I don't really care much about Atmos. 14th was Speed Jiru, and I love Speed Jiru because he was dressed up like a knight, like a jousting knight, and he had the shield with the Whitebeard crest. I like Speed Jiru's design. I want him to still be alive. 15th was Fossa. I know a lot of fans of Fossa out there. Okay, fine, we can keep Fossa. We can keep Fossa with his flaming sword. And then 16th Division was Izo, who is, of course, we know is still alive. And apparently all Izo got from the Payback War was a single scar over one of his eyes. So I guess Izo made it out of that pretty much unscathed. So Izo is still alive. So, yeah, I guess at the end of the day, the ones that I think are the least popular are Blenheim, who is the other one? Blamenko, maybe Fossa, and Atmos. Yeah, and maybe Haruta. So that's like 5. So maybe a few of them had to die during the Payback Wars so that the Payback Wars like, oh yeah, Blackbeard was pretty strong. Also, you gotta figure, you think like if Marco went up against Blackbeard and he lost and all of the members survived, like all the division commanders still survived, it's kind of like okay, well, at least we can come back to fight another day. But what happens if there were heavy casualties? What happens if, like, let's say all 5 of those division commanders I just said all died? And those are people that they've been friends with for years. What happens if they had heavy casualties just in, like, the vanguard units, like the random pirates that were fighting alongside them? Heavy casualties for the ally crews. And it was so heavy that that's when Marco decided to put down the sword at that point. He's like, okay, fine. We tried to avenge Pops. We gave it the best we could. We went 110%. We planned this for months. We gave it our all, but we just couldn't win. And we lost a lot of good people during that war. I can't do this again. We can't do Payback War Round 2. We can't do it. We don't have enough money for a Moby Dick 3. Okay, we just can't do it, all right? And so that's when he decided to, like, I'm a failure, and he just separated the crew, and he's like, all I can do now is just go back to Sphinx Island and just, make sure that that place that Pops wanted to protect stays protected. And then Weevil started stomping around, so that caused some issues, too. So, yeah. That's the situation with the Payback War, and that's where we're at right now. I hope we get a flashback to it later, but let me know what you think about the Payback War, who all died, who was all involved, who was the reinforcements on Blackbeard's side of things, if it wasn't Aokiji, or if it was more than just Aokiji, let me know. But yeah, that one might have been the moment where Blackbeard might have been in danger of dying, and then Aokiji showed up, saved him, or saved his crew, and he's like, hey, what's up? And he's like, you're Aokiji! I don't go by that name anymore. Just call me Kuzan. It's like, damn it, he's so cool! All right, and so at that point, he welcomed into his crew, but in reality, Aokiji's like, yeah, I'll be a part of your crew. Yeah. In reality, he's just trying to, seep himself in so he can take them out, freeze them from the inside, so to speak. But yeah, let me know how you feel about that, and the next video on the list, I'm not going to tell you, because it's the secret, because it's the list! All right, I'm sorry. I'll put you down, Barry. I'm sorry. I'll put you down, Barry. Okay. Bye, everybody!